You called for Cathy Engelbert's resignation from her role as WNBA commissioner.
WNBA finals, and so I'll leave it there. I mean, I'm just obviously disheartened.
You hear Caitlin Clark there, how does that strike you?
I think what people need to understand, we need great leadership in this time across all levels.
I'm a human too. I have a family. I have 2 kids who are devastated by these comments, and so all I'll say is just, it's obvious.
Doesn't strike me at all. Same reaction. Cathy Engelbert should resign as the commissioner of the WNBA.
The WNBA believed this would be the one day when the noise finally faded. For league executives, especially Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, the holiday break was meant to serve as a rare pause after a season that shattered viewership records, while also pulling the league through constant controversy, racial tension, and simmering locker room conflicts. Leadership urgently needed time to step back, reassess, and regain control of the narrative. The plan was simple. Let the sports conversation drift toward the NFL, the NBA's Christmas Day slate, or anything that didn't involve the internal power struggles of women's basketball. For a few quiet hours, that plan actually worked. Then, at exactly 10 a.m. Eastern Time, as families opened presents and the sports world was still half asleep, a single notification landed and shattered the calm instantly. It didn't come from the league. It wasn't a WNBA highlight drop. It came from Nike. The post included a 32-second commercial that ultimately shook the commissioner's authority more than any controversy the league had endured over the past decade. Titled From Anywhere and led by Caitlin Clark, the ad did far more than collect views or social buzz. It set off alarm bells behind closed doors. Within WNBA headquarters, the mood reportedly flipped almost instantly, moving from stunned disbelief to full crisis mode. To understand why a simple sneaker commercial sparked such an intense reaction at the highest levels of the league, you have to look past the game itself. This wasn't really about basketball. It was about control, growing influence, and shifting power dynamics that had been quietly building beneath the surface for nearly 2 years. For years, the WNBA has functioned under a carefully managed mindset where the league always comes before the individual. The collective identity has acted as protection, with the brand presenting all 144 players as equals and reinforcing the belief that no single star should ever outweigh the organization itself. Commissioner Engelbert has consistently defended this structure as the key to maintaining balance and order. But even as that philosophy remained in place, subtle fractures began forming beneath the surface, signaling that the foundation was no longer as solid as it once seemed.
Well, let me clarify first, because it's proxy season, right? No CEO, do you just put the base pay in there? You put their bonus, you put their stock options, you put everything. Caitlin has the ability to make up to $500,000 just in WNBA wages this year. So, of course, they're just looking at a base which is collectively bargained. And actually, it's low because she's the #1 pick. She'll make a little more than that. But she also has millions and millions of dollars of endorsements. She's actually, because she declared to become pro, her endorsements are higher in dollar value. She has a global platform now, not just a U.S. platform. So she's going to do just fine, as will the top players in the league, as every league does. But I realize we still have a lot of work to do, and it's all about the ecosystem.
The moment that commercial dropped on Christmas morning, the balance shifted immediately. With cinematic visuals, premium production quality, and star-studded cameos from Travis Scott and the Kelce brothers, it played more like a Hollywood trailer than a routine sports ad. The tone was fearless, self-assured, and unapologetic, and it struck straight at the heart of the league's long-held ideology. The message couldn't have been clearer. There was no collective vision. There was no equal footing. There was Caitlin Clark, and then there was everyone else. For a commissioner whose legacy was built on tightly controlling the league's internal ecosystem, seeing a single player elevated to near-mythical status without league approval wasn't just uncomfortable. It directly challenged her authority and exposed a shifting power structure. What raised real concern inside league offices weren't the headlines. It was the details buried inside the ad itself. Executives were reportedly on non-stop calls throughout the holiday, trying to process what they were seeing. This wasn't framed as a tribute to the WNBA. It wasn't a celebration of league history, teams, or shared success. In fact, the WNBA logo was nearly invisible, if it appeared at all. Every frame kept its focus locked on Clark, and only Clark. The visuals placed her personal brand front and center. Snow drifting down a silent driveway, shots launched from distances that felt almost impossible. Cultural icons stood nearby, less like co-stars and more like witnesses. The entire presentation positioned her as something beyond just a player, an entity that existed outside the league's boundaries. According to insiders, Commissioner Cathy Engelbert viewed the move as a rogue maneuver. Normally, partnerships with giants like Nike are carefully coordinated to ensure the league rises alongside the athlete. This time, that structure was ignored. Nike made it unmistakably clear they were taking their own shot. The message beneath the surface was impossible to miss. They didn't need the league to sell anything. They only needed Caitlin Clark. For a commissioner, realizing that your biggest star may have outgrown the very system designed to contain her isn't merely uncomfortable. It's a direct challenge to control itself. She operates in a completely different lane, and corporate sponsors are fully aware of it. What poured fuel on the fire was the timing, which carried a sharp edge of spite that couldn't be brushed aside. To understand the frustration boiling inside the front office, you have to look at what else was unfolding around the league at that exact moment. The unrivaled league was stepping into the spotlight. Just weeks before the Nike commercial went live, the basketball world was already focused on the launch of the new 3-on-3 league, founded by Breanna Stewart and Wnba Collier. The project was marketed as the WNBA's long-awaited fix for its off-season dilemma. It was promoted as an equity-focused league, built by players for players, designed to keep elite talent in the United States while opening new revenue streams for veterans who had carried the league for years. Commissioner Cathy Engelbert publicly endorsed the concept, presenting it as a vital pillar of the WNBA's long-term expansion strategy. Privately, however, one objective stood above everything else: securing Caitlin Clark's participation. Every possible lever was pulled to make that happen. Reports indicated she was offered more than $1 million for a limited commitment, a jaw-dropping figure that eclipsed her WNBA salary and underscored just how desperate the league was for her star power. Clark declined the offer. She turned down the check. She turned away from the spotlight. Instead, she opted for rest, personal time, and a lower profile, at least outwardly. That choice already unsettled parts of the traditional hierarchy. But what came next pushed tensions to a breaking point. The release of the From Anywhere commercial on Christmas Day hit just as the unrivaled league was trying to gain traction ahead of its January launch. Within league circles, it felt less like coincidence and more like a deliberate strike. When Clark declined the unrivaled offer, some in the old guard whispered that she was holding the game back. That narrative collapsed almost immediately. The numbers spoke for themselves. Within 24 hours, Clark's 32-second Nike ad racked up 6 times more views than the entire unrivaled roster reveal and launch campaign combined. For the league establishment, this wasn't just a setback. It was a public shift in power that no spin could erase. One fact was undeniable: Caitlin Clark didn't need the unrivaled league to remain relevant. The unrivaled league needed her. For Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, seeing her off-season plan completely overshadowed by a single sneaker commercial was an outright disaster. It exposed a blunt reality league leadership has long tried to ignore. Fans aren't always loyal to women's basketball as a concept, they follow the stars. Right now, that star is Caitlin Clark. This shift in focus makes the commissioner's role far more challenging, stripping away critical leverage. Running a league is one thing. Managing a player who dominates the attention of an entire audience is something entirely different. On top of that, the situation revealed a financial embarrassment the league could not easily spin. One of a commissioner's core duties is to keep the league polished, powerful, and aspirational. Engelbert, with her extensive corporate experience running Deloitte, knows balance sheets and optics inside out. That's why the numbers tied to this moment hit so painfully hard. Seeing Clark star in a commercial that looked like it cost millions to produce, decked out in custom gear and sharing the screen with high-earning music artists and NFL stars, created a stark and uncomfortable contrast. The gap between her personal brand and the league's financial reality became impossible to ignore. The production quality of that 32-second ad outshined what fans usually see in regular season WNBA broadcasts. It served as a quiet reminder that Clark earns millions through deals with Nike, Gatorade, and State Farm, while the league still pays her a rookie salary that wouldn't even cover the catering for that single shoot. For Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, the situation has become a full-blown public relations nightmare. She is deep in negotiations over future collective bargaining agreements, while also trying to convince the world that the WNBA belongs alongside other major professional leagues. Every time this Nike ad airs during an NBA game or NFL playoff broadcast, it chips away at that message. The message couldn't be clearer to anyone watching. The real money isn't coming from the league itself. It gives the Players Association a powerful visual argument. One look at the screen shows the value being generated entirely outside league control. It sparks uncomfortable questions about why players are expected to accept so little when the commercial potential is enormous. The optics make the league appear underfunded, and its leadership slow to act. Behind the scenes, murmurs suggest team owners have been calling Engelbert, asking why none of this marketing momentum is benefiting the league. This frustration isn't born from jealousy. It's pure business. The WNBA is being shut out of the profit stream tied to its most valuable star, while Nike captures the upside. That alone is damaging. But the most explosive consequences of this ad are playing out inside locker rooms across the league. This is where the A'ja Wilson factor comes into play. Wilson, a three-time MVP and arguably the best player in the world right now, is also a Nike athlete, and she recently had a commercial released under the same brand umbrella. The moment Clark's ad dropped, side-by-side comparisons flooded social media almost instantly. The contrast quickly became the story. Clark's spot was cinematic, moody, and high-budget, while Wilson's was widely criticized as minimal, flat, and lacking energy. That comparison ignited a narrative that spread fast and cut deep, with fans speculating that Nike was deliberately elevating one star, while letting another fade into the background. That perception has created tension the league can scarcely manage. Whether it's objectively true matters little to Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. What matters is how it's seen. This commercial drives a wedge straight between the league's two biggest stars and the circles that support them. It fuels long-standing beliefs held by many veteran players that the corporate system is stacked against them, no matter how hard they work or how many championships they earn.
She was talking about Cathy Engelbert directly. She revealed private conversations, you understand, with quotes from this lady, the commissioner, about what she said that came across as dismissive, as derogatory, and unappreciative of the athletes that represent her league.
Engelbert has spent the past 2 seasons trying to ease tensions around physical play, flagrant fouls, and the repeated targeting of Caitlin Clark. This ad did the exact opposite. It amplified every underlying issue. When a rookie receives blockbuster treatment, it's almost inevitable that someone like A'ja Wilson feels overlooked. It's equally difficult for other veterans not to feel slighted when one player gets a full Michael Jordan-style rollout while they're given stripped-down campaigns. That kind of imbalance breeds resentment. Resentment turns into anger, and anger rarely stays off the court. The commissioner knows the stakes. If the 2026 season becomes a revenge-driven battlefield where veterans feel disrespected and take it out physically on Clark, the product suffers. The game ceases to be about basketball and starts feeling like perpetual drama. That creates a pathway to injuries, controversies, and endless headlines, all of which ultimately end up on the commissioner's desk. And that's before even considering the subtle power play embedded within the commercial itself. Nike's selection of cameos wasn't accidental. It represented a deliberate departure from the way the WNBA has marketed itself for years. Traditionally, league campaigns focus on honoring history. Legends such as Cheryl Swoops, Lisa Leslie, and Sue Bird are usually featured to highlight continuity and pay respect to the foundation that built the league. That legacy holds weight for the gatekeepers of women's basketball. In this instance, those iconic figures were absent. There was no symbolic passing of the torch, no nod to the league's history. Instead, Clark was framed alongside male cultural powerhouses.
Hey, Caitlin, how about from here?
Come on, guys.
Yeah, she can't make it. No chance.
Caitlin, amigo, let. You got it.
I'm not even gonna ask.
Hey, Caitlin from here might be impressive. Am I right?
Whatever, Che.
From right here.
From there.
From anywhere.
Travis Scott, Jason Kelce, Travis Kelce, and Michael Che from Saturday Night Live. The lineup spoke volumes without spelling it out. Nike positioned Clark outside the traditional WNBA narrative, not as the next star in line, but as a pop culture icon operating on an entirely different plane. She stood shoulder to shoulder with some of the world's biggest male celebrities. For years, power brokers and former players have openly questioned Clark's fanbase. This move struck at that very tension. It completely bypassed the league's internal hierarchy, signaling that external validation outweighs approval from within. Engelbert fully understands how threatening that message is to the structure she's trying to maintain. Commissioner Cathy Engelbert needs veteran players to buy in. She needs alumni voices aligned with the league's vision. When the league's flagship player is promoted as separate from its own history, it undermines the very foundation the WNBA is built on and creates a divided culture. On one side are new fans who care only about Caitlin Clark. On the other are longtime supporters who value legacy and lineage deeply. The commissioner finds herself caught squarely in the middle, absorbing pressure from both camps. To grasp why this tension feels so personal, you need to revisit the Lucky Stars controversy. In October 2025, reports surfaced about a tense meeting in which Engelbert allegedly told players they should be grateful for the media rights deal she helped negotiate. The wording ignited immediate backlash.
I have great respect for Fee, and I think she made a lot of very valid points. And, I think what people need to understand, we need great leadership in this time across all levels. This is straight up the most important moment in this league's history. This league's been around for 25 plus years, and this is a moment we have to capitalize on. So that's honestly what I would say. I think there's, Fee said it all with what she said, and I think the points she made were very valid.
Even after efforts to soften or clarify her words, the perception lingered. Engelbert was seen as an executive who expected players to owe her gratitude, a moment that became a symbol of power imbalance, a stark reminder of who controlled the purse strings. The Nike commercial acts as a direct counter to that episode without uttering a single word. It frames Clark as someone who doesn't need anyone's thanks to thrive. Her value exists on her own terms. The message beneath the visuals is impossible to miss. Clark commands attention. She draws sponsors. She generates revenue. The commercial subtly chips away at the commissioner's authority by revealing a financial reality the league simply cannot match. It's hard to demand loyalty or gratitude when the league's salary structure is dwarfed by what Clark earns outside of it. The numbers draw an impossible contrast. When a league pays a player just a fraction of what a single sponsor offers, the balance of power tilts. The dynamic reverses. The player becomes the center of gravity, and the league becomes dependent on her presence. Engelbert understands the risk. Once an athlete realizes their individual value outweighs the governance structure around them, control begins to slip. The NBA saw a version of this with LeBron James, but in Clark's case, the situation feels even more volatile. The gap between Clark's earning power and that of her peers is enormous, and that imbalance threatens the stability of the entire system. An even bigger concern looms over this situation, one that keeps WNBA owners awake at night. For years, the debate centered on whether Caitlin Clark was good enough for the league. That question is now settled. The scale of this commercial raises a far more unsettling one. Is the WNBA big enough for Caitlin Clark? The visuals, the production scope, and the from anywhere concept all point towards something larger than domestic basketball. The messaging feels global, ambitious, and borderless, an aspiration the WNBA cannot yet fully match. Commissioner Cathy Engelbert knows the current collective bargaining agreement is fragile, and this moment underscores that vulnerability. If players start opting out, and the league cannot offer Clark compensation that matches her true market value, the consequences could be severe. Once that door opens, entirely new possibilities emerge. What would stop Clark from creating her own platform? What would prevent Nike or Amazon from backing a Caitlin Clark-driven tour that travels city to city, generating numbers that rival, or even surpass, the WNBA? It may sound extreme, but the financial logic is already evident. A company willing to invest this heavily in a 32-second commercial is willing to fund any platform that delivers the highest return. Right now, that platform isn't the Indiana Fever. It isn't the league as an institution. It's Clark herself. This commercial serves as more than just a promotion. It's a warning. It signals that the star can go anywhere at any time if the surrounding structure can't keep pace. Inside the commissioner's office, the response isn't just anger. It's anxiety. The fear isn't backlash. It's irrelevance. The possibility that the WNBA becomes a stepping stone in Clark's career, rather than the ultimate destination, is a scenario Engelbert cannot ignore. Another layer intensified the reaction. The campaign's global implications sparked their own backlash. The From Anywhere tagline suggested worldwide reach, and the visuals reinforced that idea. Snow, distance, and isolation conveyed a universal appeal. Online, the response was immediate when international fans realized the merchandise wasn't available in their countries. Supporters from Brazil, France, Spain, and China flooded comment sections, demanding to know why they were excluded. While this was technically a Nike distribution issue, the backlash spilled over onto the league. Engelbert has long promoted a vision of global expansion, speaking about teams in Toronto and games in London. When the sport's biggest marketing moment fails to align with that vision, it reflects poorly on the league. The perception becomes damaging. The infrastructure looks unprepared, coordination seems sloppy, and once again, elite talent appears to be operating ahead of the system designed to support it. As the face of league business, Engelbert bears the brunt of the criticism, and with the 2026 season fast approaching, this commercial has already drawn an invisible line that will shape everything moving forward. This is the moment where everything converges at once. The commercial was never just marketing, it was a stress test. It revealed just how fragile the balance has become between individual star power and league control. And it forced everyone to face a truth they've been sidestepping for years. Caitlin Clark didn't create this shift. The market did. The audience did. The money followed. When a single player commands more attention than the structure designed to contain her, the system must adapt or risk irrelevance. That is exactly the position the league now faces. Commissioner Cathy Engelbert is no longer simply managing growth. She is managing immense pressure. Every decision from this point carries weight, because the league cannot afford another moment where it appears smaller than its own stars. The 2026 season is no longer just about basketball. It's about control, perception, and survival. This isn't just about a single commercial. It's about leverage, identity, and the unseen forces that dictate who truly holds power in modern sports. What's happening with Caitlin Clark, Nike, and the WNBA goes far beyond one player, one ad, or one holiday release. It's a glimpse into the way professional leagues operate when influence and attention move faster than institutions can adapt. The organizations that survive, grow, and thrive are the ones willing to confront that reality head-on, instead of pretending everything is under control. At Courtside Leaks, we dig deeper than the headlines. We break down the real context behind every move, every deal, and every decision that shapes the league, its stars, and the dollars at play. No narratives filtered by PR teams, no polished stories. They leave out the details they hope you'll never see. We bring you every angle, every backstage twist, every private negotiation, and every moment they try to keep off camera. This is where you see the WNBA as it truly operates. The tension, the strategy, and the power dynamics that decide the future of the league. If you want the unfiltered truth, stay with us. Hit like, subscribe, drop a comment, and share this video with everyone who wants to see what's really happening behind the curtain. Stay locked in with Courtside Leaks, your front row seat to the stories, power plays, and revelations the mainstream media won't show you.